Hello, I'm John Nicholson and you're watching my YouTube channel. I feel there's only one story that we should talk about this week, and that is yet another Israeli atrocity in Gaza. And it's the bombing of the Nasser Hospital, where a further 20 people were killed, including 5 journalists. Now, what we should all know about this particular attack is that it was what's called a double tap. Now, what that means is that the bombers drop a bomb on a target, in this case, yet another hospital, and then they wait. And of course, the rescue workers rush in to try and help those who are dying or injured. And that's exactly what happened in the Nasser Hospital. The Israelis dropped a bomb on it, and then the rescue workers, the nurses, surviving doctors, rushed in to try and help those who were injured. And journalists came forward as well, of course, to record the scene. And the Israelis waited until all the rescue workers were there, and then they dropped a second bomb in order to kill them. A double tap. I mean, the words double tap sound innocent, but the wickedness of that is really hard to fathom. And that's what happened. Now, over the years, as a journalist and then as a politician, I've heard Israeli spokespeople hundreds of times say, when confronted with some atrocity or another, say that they will investigate. They always say they'll investigate. And the results are inevitably to exonerate those responsible for the crimes. They've been doing it for decades. Israel was founded on terrorism. It was founded by terrorists expelling Palestinians from their own land and notoriously blowing up the King David Hotel with British soldiers in it. And one of the perpetrators went on to become Prime Minister of Israel. So we've heard over the years Israeli regimes, one after the other, say that they will investigate. And this was no different. Benjamin Netanyahu, who's wanted now for war crimes with an international arrest warrant out, as you know, the Israeli Prime Minister, he said, and I quote him, "It was a tragic mishap." No, it wasn't. It's not a tragic mishap. You don't kill tens of thousands of civilians in a tragic mishap, as Israel has been doing for the last couple of years in Gaza. You don't target journalists repeatedly because of a tragic mishap. You don't kill doctors in their scores because of a tragic mishap. What they're doing is perpetrating one war crime after another, and this was just the latest. And we have the same usual impotent reaction from the political classes here in the United Kingdom. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, said, and I quote him, that this is completely indefensible. I mean, the weakness of the response is truly shocking. But if you look at Keir Starmer's record, he may say it's now completely indefensible, but at the start, at the beginning of all these atrocities by the Israelis against the Palestinians, he said it was acceptable, defensible for Israel to cut off water and power to Gaza. And of course, that's a war crime. And yet he defended it and said quite openly on camera in an interview with Nick Ferrari, the journalist, that Israel was entitled to do this. And then, of course, when the SNP introduced motions in the House of Commons to call for an immediate ceasefire, what did Keir Starmer do? This was 2 years ago. Keir Starmer sacked the 56 Labour MPs who voted for an immediate ceasefire, and the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, abstained on the issue of an immediate ceasefire. How can you abstain on whether or not the Israelis should stop killing people? That's not a matter for an abstention. That's a matter where everybody should be united, regardless of their political views, to stop the killing of innocent civilians. But 2 years on, Keir Starmer has now decided that there should be an immediate ceasefire. And what has been achieved over these 2 years? The 2 years during which he vacillated, changed his mind, issued, first of all, denials that there were war crimes, or wasn't quite sure whether there were war crimes or not, then decided perhaps that they were, and now, 2 years on, he's called for an immediate ceasefire. What's been achieved in those 2 years by the leadership of the United Kingdom Labour Party? And what's been achieved over the last 2 years? Well, we know it's been achieved. That's the mass killing of Gazan civilians, all civilians, and children, and journalists, and hospital workers. It's wickedness beyond description. I think future generations are going to look at how we stood by and did nothing, and they'll be shocked at our inaction. Well, as always, I'm delighted to hear your views on this tragic subject and every other subject that we talk about. Please do feel free to subscribe. The details are on the screen below, and I try and answer as many of your questions and comments as I possibly can. Thank you for watching.